This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Good morning. Welcome in the Magnolia Lobby studio, which has been a studio for about 40 years from the guys that we've talked to regarding the history of WSM radio in this particular studio, the Country Music Living Room, I call it. And as of a couple of weeks hence, we will move to the Roy Acuff home on the Opry Plaza, Nashville, Tennessee, 37214 if you want to drop us a letter. All right.
We're moving on up.
Yeah, we are.
Moving on up to the east side.
To the plaza.
Yeah.
Moving up to the plaza. And thank you to Annie Nye, our studio director. That's Charlie Mattos. Kelly Sutton was at the Opry last night late. She's got the morning off. And Jeff Roberts making it happen. Solid as a rock in master control at the Grand Ole Opry House. And when we move, Jeff, we're actually going to be in the same building. Jeff is going to be upstairs.
Yes. We've only seen Jeff as a human 5 or 6 times. He exists only in video. So we're convinced he's just a really good hologram when we see him in the video. So, yeah.
Our guests this morning include Dallas Smith on his way to the Grand Ole Opry. Is it a debut a few hours from now for Dallas?
Yeah, first time at the Opry tonight.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking
But he's
forward.
been on our show before.
He has. He was here when the new album came out last October, but first time at the Opry tonight, so I'm looking forward to that.
And then Presley Tennant, she's taking some time out from the Joe D. Messina tour to join us on Coffee, Country, and Cody this morning. When she was 16, she was charmed. It was like the golden birthday thing. She was 16, and it was season 16 of The Voice when she came into our lives and living rooms, and she will do that here in just a little bit on Coffee, Country, and Cody. And Charlie, for those of you on television joining us all over the world, streaming platforms, you can link to your favorite streaming platform if you have one at circlecountry.com or just watch at circlecountry.com. Keep it easy that way. But Charlie had a story for the radio audience just before we went live on television. That's why we were laughing. That Joey Chestnut, professional eater, has lost his opportunity to compete somehow.
The Nathan's hot dog eating competition, 4th of July, it's one of the great annual events. Well, I say it's kind of a fun event. I wouldn't say it's a great event. But he's being banned this year. They won't let him participate. And the funniest part of the whole story is to me the spokesperson from Major League Eating. No, we have Major League Soccer in Nashville. We'd love to have Major League Baseball. We do not have Major League Eating. But apparently he signed a hot dog deal with another organization, so you can't do that and participate in the Nathan's hot dog eating
You have to eat Nathan's exclusive.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
So there you were, sitting there minding your own business in your living room, and into your life and living room, season 16 of The Voice, comes this lady, Presley Tennant. Welcome to Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you were 16 years old on season 16.
Yeah. It was like a full circle moment, I will say. I was like, this is not supposed to be happening right now, but it was really such a cool experience.
Well, you're from the horse capital of the universe,
yes.
Norco, California, which is outside Los Angeles. And Charlie asked you before we went on, did you get to stay at home and commute? And I would think they quarantine you pretty good, don't they?
You would think that would be able to. It's probably about 45 minutes without traffic, but no, you had to be with everybody, but I enjoyed it. I made some of the best friends that I still talk to this day from that show and hanging out with them.
Norco.
Yeah.
Best known as an animal-keeping, equestrian-oriented community whose residents enjoy over 400 acres of parkland and one of the largest networks of horse trails in the nation. So the name, Horsetown, USA.
All right.
He did his research over here.
Yeah.
I'm just looking. The rodeo parade's the first thing that comes up when you pull up the website.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I said, if you go to Taco Bell or a Starbucks, there's probably a horse in front of you in the drive-thru.
Oh,
It's kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And it's so funny because everyone is like, "Oh, you're in California. That doesn't happen." I'm like,
Right.
"I swear we're here.
Yeah.
We exist."
So you can ride a horse, I'm assuming, or no?
Because
I've only been on a horse one time in my life.
I have
so.
been on a horse. I could count on one hand how many times.
Okay.
But they are beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But my parents, when they bought land out there, because it's all horse property, it's big, like acres and things like that. So they decided to move out there, but they were not horse people, unfortunately.
Well, it's kind of the best of both worlds, though. You get a lot of space, and yet if you want a big city, like one of the biggest cities in the world is so close,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
No, it's nice. I'm able to jump in, jump out when I want to, and then I can avoid it at all costs where the traffic is going.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive 3 hours down there.
But having grown up that close Did that give you an advantage of any kind on The Voice, you think?
I think so. Because I grew up where The Voice filmed, which is North Hollywood, down in Universal Studios, on the lot. I was always down there rehearsing, writing, recording, and so I already knew the area. I had like my own little. It felt very comfortable to me when I was there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
There's a lot of people who
comfort
come from
factor.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that come from out of town, and they're like, it's a whole new world for them. But to me, I was like, oh, this is like a normal Tuesday. What do you mean, guys? So I was like, let's go down to the coffee shop. And they're like, which one? And I'm like, this one. This one's the best.
Insider information.
Exactly.
So when did you start singing? I read as a little girl, you were already singing. And
I started singing around 7 years old, but I got into the music industry when I was about 10 years old. I was in a little girl group. We were a pop Christian girl group.
Tell me about the, was it 5 Little Princesses?
Yes.
Did I read the name?
That would be correct.
Or the 5 LPs, as they were known.
There you go.
Yep.
Yes.
It was a very high energy, dance driven. I could not dance to save my life.
So you were a boy band, but not really. You were a girl band.
Oh, we were like a girly girl band. It was like tiaras, pink crowns, tutus. It was every little girl's dream come true. It was like, when you're little, well, I don't know if you guys felt that way, but I know when I was little, I was like, I want to be a princess. I got to live it. And so I was like,
did you want to be a princess when you were a little girl?
No, but it's like us putting, it's like if you told me I got to put on a Red Sox uniform and run around and just be in a band, but baseball.
Exactly. Except you just wore lots of pink glittery eyeshadow.
Right. Yeah. So, well, I still, I'm fine
he still
with
does
that.
on Opry nights.
I'm fine with that.
So, what about was it karaoke at the Mexican restaurant that I read was also a part of your early history?
That is what I like to say was my first performance ever. It was Pat Benatar's Heartbreaker. That was the go-to song.
It's a great one. I love that.
It was, the American Idol game that was like on PlayStation, like PS1. That was like always on there. And I was like, that's my go-to song every single time. So when karaoke came around, I was like, I got this. I'm pulling it out of my back pocket, showing all my cards now. And I don't know. It was like tacos. Everyone else had margs. I could not.
So how old were you doing Heartbreaker?
I was probably like 5 to 7 years old.
Gosh, I'm thinking now. I know the song really well, but I'm thinking at the end of the song, Pat Benatar goes crazy.
She is insane.
The invincible wind. I mean, that's like insanely high.
Sing it.
Yeah. Could you hit that or pretty close?
Oh my God, that was like 7 years old. That was easy.
Oh.
Now it's like, oh God, that's a stretch to get there.
Oh, I forget. Yeah, that's right. That makes it. Okay. Oh, wow, that's funny.
So we talked about the fact that though you grew up in horse country, one of the horse capitals of the world, you were a soccer family, I read.
Yes. So my whole family played soccer. My dad sometimes still plays like in indoor arenas or indoor leagues and things like that. But I thought that's what I was going to be doing with my life. I grew up playing from 3 years old to 13. I was on club soccer teams, got scouted for like ODP, which is like the Olympic developmental program. And I played on 2 teams. Like one team was my age, and then the other team was like 16 years old, and the girls are twice the height as me. And I was like, I'm gonna get beat up right now on this field. No, but I grew up playing soccer and thought that that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna go to college, be on U.S. women's national team. That was the goal.
Who's your favorite player?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Give me a couple.
Okay, I will say the coolest thing, I got to meet Hope Solo, and I actually fangirled a little bit. I was like, one of my good friends, she's also a singer, and she was singing at one of their games, and I saw her, and I was like, that's Hope Solo. And she was like, who? And I was like, what? How do you not know this? You should have done your research. And I was like, that was actually a really cool moment. But I would say all-time favorite player, Alex Morgan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how instrumental was homeschooling to being able to pursue your music career?
I wouldn't have been able to do it if I wasn't homeschooled. But also, when I was in the girl group, I was up in LA 5 days a week.
And how did that come about? How did you become a part of the 5 Little Princesses?
I had auditioned for this little talent show out in Temecula, and the mayor of Temecula had saw me, and she introduced me to this girl group because that's where they were based out of. So I auditioned for them. And they were very dance heavily, like I said, and I could do a somersault, and it wasn't good. While these dancers are like dancing for Justin Bieber and all these different people, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it my all, though.
But I'm the best soccer player here.
Exactly, I got that covered. No, and so I auditioned, and I remember I auditioned, and then I would get cut, and I was devastated. I also never knew the music industry existed. I thought it was like you were just on Disney Channel and you were a star. It was one of those things. And so when I found out the whole process of it, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove myself right. So I started taking dance lessons. I would go to like different performance classes type thing. And then they brought me back out, got cut again, brought me back out again, got cut. It was a process. But
well, you were
what?
perfectly seasoned for the voice and for the music industry at large.
I have very thick skin, and when someone tells me no, I'm like, sure, okay.
I like your quote though, that you were going to prove yourself wrong, not the other people. That's a great quote.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was just one of those things. I think because I played soccer, I did have like a little bit of that competitive edge.
Sure.
But also, it's like once you're with your people, it becomes a team. And that was the big important part. And so when I met all the girls and I was like, oh my God, I love them. And then I was homeschooled and I was up there 5 days a week from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day, then rushing home to play on 2 soccer teams. Then I'd finish my homework when I was back at home or on my drive back home. And I would do it all again every day.
16, you were on The Voice, season 16. So how many seasons are we on The Voice now? Where are we up to?
20-something for sure, I think.
And how old are you now?
I am 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
And splitting time between here and California?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And with us this morning on Coffee Country and Cody, get to talk about Joe Messina when we come back and being out on that tour. That's just incredible.
More Coffee Country and Cody is on WSM.
And Presley Tennant is on Coffee Country and Cody in studio this morning. You maybe first remember meeting her on The Voice when she was 16 years old. And since that time, in the years that have passed, she's been splitting time between Nashville and back home in Los Angeles or Norco, California. But you are back in California. I was looking at your tour. Let's talk about your friendship and tour with Joe Messina and how that friendship came about and how that working relationship.
So this is actually one of the first time that I'm going to be meeting her. But I am one of the biggest fans. I feel like I'm always partial to like more like female powerhouse vocalists, but I think that's because that's what I grew up on. And so I am so excited to be opening up for her and just getting to watch her. I mean, the songs that she has have left like the biggest impact on me.
And you had a small world story about the Corona date that's coming up this weekend. On the 15th, you're in Corona. You're in Upland on the 16th for the Lemon Festival. I don't know that I've ever known of a festival named after the lemon.
Well, you know,
there's a first for everything.
I would assume, you know, lemonade and meringue pie and, you know, lots of options for food at the Lemon Festival.
You know what?
You want a good juicy lemon, you need to go to Upland, apparently.
Yeah.
That's where it happens. But that is this weekend for you and Joe D in Corona, California. But you were where when the band guys were talking? And
I was played up in Atwater with Ben Gallagher. He was headlining, and we were chatting with his band, and then all of a sudden my bassist and the drummer became good friends at that point, and he was like, yeah, I'm coming back out to California on June 15th, somewhere in Corona. And then my bassist goes, oh, if we're hanging out, like, or if I don't have anything, I'll come watch. And he pulls up his calendar, and the drummer goes, dude, you're opening up for us. And we're like, I was like, really? Out of every day? Like, this couldn't have been more perfect. And then yesterday I was doing another podcast, and they were telling me, they're like, yeah, this is some drummer's house. Like, he works with Joe Messina. And I was like, don't tell me it's the same guy. And she was like, it is actually. He told me. And I was like, this is so funny. So I'll be seeing them on Saturday, and I'm very excited for that.
For those of you who don't know your Southern California geography, between Long Beach and Riverside is where you'll find Corona, California.
Okay. Close enough to be a hometown gig? Like family will come to this one?
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes away.
Oh, definitely a hometown gig.
It is so nice.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That was actually one of the first places I played in the amphitheater as like a recital growing up. So it's really cool. It's another full circle moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's do your first ever WSM recital. What do you say?
I love that idea. I was like, no pressure now.
Powerhouse vocals in the studio this morning.
I said, good morning. No, I'm awake.
On her way this weekend, Joe Messina, Corona, California on the 15th. Upland Lemon Festival, Upland, California, the 16th, or other dates you'll find. Just simply go to PresleyTennant.com on the web, and you can link to the tour there. I see in July you got back-to-back-to-back nights at Old Red Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
So you're working for our company on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of July in Las Vegas at Old Red there.
I'm always curious what it's like when you go from some people knowing who you are, and then when you have a nice run on The Voice, to millions of people knowing who you are, because it can mess with you. And so, I mean, it can be a great thing, obviously, but it can also be challenging. And I was just curious what your experience with that was like.
I mean, I didn't feel like much really changed, but maybe because I was 16. It was like I was going to school, and then I came back, and then I went back to school, and then I was like, if anything, I was at like the local boba shop, and I got recognized for the first time, and I was like, who, me? I'm like looking behind. I'm like, who are you talking to right now?
So your life stayed pretty normal. Then.
Yeah, I mean, even if my parents would be like, who do you think you are?
Let's catch up with Old Dominion Entertainment this morning. Kelly Sutton with a morning off. Our friends at Old Dominion releasing new music soon. And some of you go, wait a minute, didn't they just, like 9 months ago, is it time to have a new baby? I mean, it's been 9 months since the old one, Memory Lane, came out. Well, they got brand new music, excited to share a new song.
Yeah, that's the way it goes these days, right?
We're going the opposite this time. One song.
Yeah, we're putting out a song. But we are working on more music, but we do have a brand new song coming just in a couple weeks, so very excited. It's the best song we've ever done. I don't know.
Plays the harmonica.
Yeah, I do play the harmonica on it. It's my harmonica debut. We're going to have a harmonica off with Chris Jansen after this is all over.
Ooh, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Matthew, Charlie McCoy, line 1, says he is still available for sessions if you need a real harmonica player, like 17,000 sessions worth. Hall of Fame, Grand Ole Opry member, just saying. Most recent single, Can't Break Up Now with Megan Maroney, just cracked the top 20. And if you're listening or watching in Southern California, Old Dominion, they'll be at the San Diego County Fair tomorrow night. Grand Ole Opry star John Party, speaking of babies, having babies, he and his wife Summer expecting number 2. John says he's very excited for the new edition.
She got a lot of baby dolls. She likes her baby dolls, just carrying it around. Will we let her carry the baby? No, not whatsoever. But I think she's going to be obsessed with the new baby girl, and I'm excited to have 2 of them running around.
That was a reference to Presley, their only child at this point, but 2 running around, it could be a handful, right, John?
Presley's getting crazy. Like, it's like full watch now. Like, you just got to be on it. Or she'd be like, fall off a stair or something. Like, she's always climbing. It's like one of them just walking around, following a kid now.
So if he's able to break loose for just a little while and not, or Presley may be up on stage while John's performing and walking around behind her. Carter Faith, Des Moines, Iowa, tomorrow night for John Party, Grand Ole Opry member. Opry star Carly Pearce, busy CMA Fest with her album Hummingbird. It came out last Friday, and a ton of appearances during CMA week, of course. She's not slowing down this week either, as it turns out. Monday night, she was on the coast, truck on fire. She did it live with Jimmy Fallon. With Superstar. That's Carly Pearce from our Grand Ole Opry family. Currently on tour with Tim McGraw this week. They're in Biloxi, Mississippi, Atlanta, Georgia, Lexington, Kentucky, and she's at the Opry next week on Tuesday. And she and I will do a sit-down interview after the Opry show. And Charlie, you pointed out something a little different. She's doing 2 sets within the same show. Yeah,
I've never worked a show. So she's with that concept. She's doing an acoustic set, and then we'll do a full band set as well. So you get to see Carly twice that night. 3 times if you buy the new record.
All right, and then Jelly Roll is celebrating yet another number 1, another number 5 of them now. And that was, of course, for Halfway to Hell, but he's got new music. Here it is.
But God knows, I know, when it's all said and done, I'm not okay, but it's all gonna be all right.
I'm Not Okay is the title of it. You can watch Jelly and Ashley McBride, CMA Fest concert, ABC, 2 weeks from last night. Yeah, Tuesday, June the 25th. And now you're up to date. Be right back.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
I told you Dallas was coming to see us. He just sat down. Dallas Smith, good morning and welcome to Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Thanks for having me back. Appreciate
It's good to see you. It's been a while. I think we were promoting a new album the last time you were here, weren't we?
6-8 months or something? Yeah.
Yeah. How long ago was it, Charlie?
October of last year. Yes.
Okay. The fall of last year.
Yeah. Time flies.
So did you make enough off the album to buy some nice Christmas gifts?
I think we're delayed on the royalties here, so we'll see. give me another month.
Christmas 2024 is looking really
25 is looking fantastic.
Okay, so
24 maybe.
So I'm usually good on logos. I'm trying to figure out what the ball cap is this morning.
It is being from Canada, I got to rep the Blue Jays. Yeah.
That's the alternate. It's got to be an alternate logo, right?
It is,
right.
yeah.
If it were blue, I think I would have known.
Yeah.
You realize that your Blue Jay's not blue.
Right. He's kind of gray, yeah. So.
Yeah. We're going.
You'll be shocked at this, but I actually watch a lot of CFL. So if you come in with an Argos hat, I would have instantly
BC
recognized
Lions,
it.
my home team.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you go. Oh, BC Place looks like a cool place to see a game.
Yeah,
actually.
they got a lot of soccer going through there now too. Yeah,
Yep.
A lot of concerts there.
And so where is Langley in
Langley
as we think
is
about
like,
British Columbia geography?
It would be like Franklin to Nashville. So it's like 45 minutes out.
Out of Vancouver.
Oh, to Vancouver, yeah, east. Yeah.
And that's where life began for you?
I grew up. I was born in New Westminster, so about halfway to Vancouver from Langley, and I still live there. It's the city slogan is where city meets country, and so a lot of rural, a lot of farmland, a lot of equestrian. But now like every city, it's expanded, and we got lots of condos and townhouses and stuff in there. But
was sports a part of your early life as a kid?
I played a bit of baseball, played a little bit of soccer, played a little bit of everything. Nothing too exclusive, but yeah.
But music always?
No, music was. I always listened to music. It was always around. My mom was in Sweet Adeline's, the women's professional choir. Yeah. So she
kind of like the equivalent of a men's barbershop.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was lots of like warm up scales, and like so my mom used to sit me down and ask if her pitch was good and stuff as a young one, and then for some reason I stopped singing. I got shy about it, and I would like come after school and listen to my favorite records and sing to those, in my alone time. I was a shower and car singer. Yeah. And then, as I got my later teens, early 20s, I just wanted to get over the fear of singing in front of people. And we got a few beers in me and sang some karaoke. And these guys and we started writing songs in like 1999. And we got a record deal about a year later. And yeah.
Who was in your record collection?
Oh, geez. I was being Vancouver and so close to Seattle, and like that Seattle grunge sort of scene was like my grade 8, grade 9. So I went from listening to like Zeppelin and Katie Lang and the Judds and just what my parents would play to like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and stuff. So that's kind of like I had a bit of a rock background definitely when I was a kid, but it was like, a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan and Brooks and Dunn, and it was just a good blend of just great music.
I saw Reba was on your list somewhere.
Who didn't have Reba playing? My mom played a lot of Reba as well.
The Beatles?
Beatles, of course. Yep. Yeah, it was a lot of like classic rock, and it was a great blend. Yeah. We had Kathy Mattea was played a lot, and all that.
Well, Dallas Smith continues his global rise. What's it feel like to be a part of a global rise? That's the link when I get to your website and your appearance at the Grand Ole Opry.
Did my mom type that
Baby,
out?
you are global. We're not talking about local. We're not talking about regional. We're not talking about national. We're talking about global.
That's a big place. Yeah. I'm huge in Japan.
Have you looked at a globe lately? It's a big place.
It's a big ball.
Good for you.
Yeah. We've got lots of great ads in Australia and different parts of the world, so it feels great. Yeah, coming down here a lot more from Canada. Yeah.
So tell me about the Opry and what you knew prior to playing the Opry, getting the invite to play the Opry, about its history with your musical background.
Yeah, my mom's dad, lots of Patsy Cline, lots of stuff. So I knew a little bit, just in the background, I knew it existed. But it like growing up as a 90s was kind of like classic rock kid. It was never it was never even the realm of bucket list, because I was kind of focused on like classic rock stuff. And but then I made my first trip down to Nashville in 2009 for a riding trip, and I quickly learned what the Opry means to country music in Nashville. And so this is it became on my bucket list. I played the Ryman, but now this is the top of the cake for me.
I was going to ask if you have been, as a fan, just bought a ticket and gone to see.
I haven't. I've been there a bunch of times. I've done the tour. I've been backstage. I hopped up on there with Terry Clark. We sang a duet together. So she invited me up to actually sing on stage with her there. But not as a fan. When I come to Nashville, I treat this like Vegas, like get in and get out.
Who are your Canadian connections here in town? You mentioned Terry Clark.
Yeah, Terry Clark. As far as other artists,
because we have more and more.
Yeah, there's lots. I mean, who was just on there? James Barker Band was on there. Dean Brody is a big Canadian artist.
I've worked with Brett Kissel.
Oh yeah, Kissel's down here.
Brett's been on a few times.
Yeah. So there's quite a few. But I'm mainly friends with like Joey Moy, who's producer out of Big Loud. He's he was like, I was his first voice that went to radio back in like 2000, 2001. So we have a long journey together. So he's kind of my main Canadian connection.
Both Tennille's too.
Towns
and Arts.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So.
Yep, lots of great artists.
Well, Dallas Smith is in studio with us this morning and debuting at the Grand Ole Opry tonight. So what is your day going to be after you leave here? They got you pretty packed?
Yeah, it's pretty busy, but I got all my in-laws and my parents are here and lots of family friends, so we're all going to gather up and probably do a dinner and stuff like that beforehand.
You referenced getting to play the Ryman, and certainly that is one of our truly historic venues, as is the Opry House. They're celebrating 50. I always say, and I've never been, and if you've been, I wish you would paint me a picture, but Canada's version of the Ryman is probably Massey Hall, one of those legendary kind of places.
Yeah,
right?
you know what? I've seen shows in Massey Hall, but I've never played Massey Hall.
But what's it feel like just to be out in the crowd? Is it a great? It seems like it's a great venue.
It is, but honestly, I've sat in the Ryman as a fan, and I've been up on stage there, and there's nothing like that. I wish I could say, but there's some iconic venues, but not like that. Yeah.
The Ryman is happy to hear that.
Yes,
So,
I'm sure they are.
Well, it is crazy because for 2,400 seats, they just feel like they're right on top of you. Though,
oh, it's amazing, but just like all the little quotes and stuff it's just like, it's funny. We played a song called Timeless, and it's got a decent size intro, and I just stood up there, and I never really miss cues to start singing, but I was just so taken by where I was and what was going on that I missed my cue, and I looked back at my drummer, and he's like, okay, we'll wait for the next 4 more bars, buddy.
Interestingly, that building, it was 1885 that the tent revival took place, where Captain Tom Ryman had his spiritual conversion.
Yeah.
And then set about to raise money to build what we know as the Union Gospel Tabernacle, 1892.
Okay.
That became, at his funeral in 1904, I want to say, on Christmas Day 1904, the pastor, Sam Jones, the great pastor of the time, said, hey, by proclamation, who wants this building to be called Ryman Auditorium? Because Captain Tom didn't want it named after him while he was alive.
Yeah.
He forbid that. But I thought it was interesting at his funeral.
Yeah.
They went against his wishes and named it after him.
Yeah,
and that's how we know it as Ryman Auditorium. Radney Foster and I were there Saturday for Opry Country Classics, and he had a friend in from California, and he was giving a little history lesson about the place. And one of the things I picked up on from Radney, he says, the building had no amplification, had no sound system, obviously.
Yep, of
and he
course.
said that is why bluegrass music, particularly, and a cappella performances and those sorts of things, are just glorious in that building.
Yep.
Because that's the way it was acoustically designed. Whether they knew they were doing that or not, I'm not sure. But
yeah, no, they did something right. Yeah, you stand up on stage and you're just talking, and you can hear it reverberate through the whole building. It's pretty rad.
And depending on the time of day, when the sun, particularly with the longer days now, coming through that stained glass down to the stage.
Nice.
Whew.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Continuing in studio with Dallas Smith, who's going to the Grand Ole Opry and debut a little later on tonight. Charlie, again, run your full lineup tonight with Dallas on there.
Well, until we inducted Lainey Wilson, he was the newest member of the Grand Ole Opry. T. Graham Brown will be there tonight. Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland, Wendy Moten, Charles Eston, who I've heard is not a good guy at all. I mean, you don't want to meet now.
Yeah. He's hard on the eyes, too.
Shelley Fairchild, Gary Muldeer, 49 Winchester, and Dallas will make his Opry debut tonight. So,
we were talking about Canadian connections here in town, and a name we left out, and she's been a guest on the show a number of times, Mackenzie Porter.
Oh, Mackenzie, yeah, she's a good friend of mine.
You guys worked together. They've done
off this record, we did a duet called 1-2. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. Yeah, being able to perform with her and do that was great. It was an honor.
Well, what are you going to play and sing first?
We're going to do a song. It kicks off the new record. It's a song called Use Me.
And you want to introduce your guitarist?
Yeah, this is Chad Murphy from Newfoundland, way on the east coast of Canada.
So who's your hockey team?
Hockey team?
Yeah.
We don't have hockey out there. We barely got anything.
Yeah. Dallas Smith live on Coffee, Country, and Cody on his way to debut at the Grand Ole Opry. And summer got a busy July ahead, July the 5th, Brant, Canada. I see you're playing the Country Thunder Saskatchewan run of shows in Craven in mid-July.
Yep.
and Belleville and Thunder Bay and all those Canadian dates, staying close to home.
I'm curious when you're doing a full show and putting a set list together. You know, you referenced rock as an influence, obviously, and Default was like a big part of your early life,
Yeah,
right?
Wasting My Time was a big
Yeah, I was
song
going to
like
say, yeah, and that certainly was a big hit here in the U.S. as well. Does that still find its way into the set list?
It does. We usually add a few country instruments to it and play it acoustically and just kind of bring it down at that moment in the show. And it's usually a really great sing-along moment for the crowd.
Yeah, and so fans have followed you along too.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely, definitely a lot of people that. It's funny to me. That song's 24 years old, but you know when we wrote it back then, and seeing kids are like 10, 16, and 20 and stuff. I always joke that their parents have really good taste in music.
So when did you know it was time to go solo after the years with Default?
It was we had 3 records. So about 2005.
Multi-platinum, I might add.
Yeah. We traveled the world. We did lots of great stuff. But it was about 2005, 2006. Like Keith Urban came out. He like that style of country music was just Keith has got a great voice, but really guitar driven. And being a rock fan, it was just like, wow, this is like the best of both worlds. Amazing voice. The storytelling is second to none, and it had everything I loved about it. Yeah, kind of that blend of what I grew up with was all there. So I really started paying attention to country music and getting back into it and all the new artists. And then 2009, after talking about going down to Nashville with Joey Moy for a couple years, we finally made that first trip in 2009. So
we're glad you did.
Yeah, me too.
I know every girl who has that license plate in the 50 states of the United States and the provinces of Canada loses their mind.
That's my song.
When they hear that song. Did you see an Alabama plate with that on there?
No, I did not. I
thought maybe that was the inspiration.
No.
Dallas, thanks for coming in early.
Thanks for having me.
And tell me about your signature edition guitar you're playing there. Who makes that guitar?
This is a PRS SE acoustic, and this is actually Dallas's. I borrowed it for today.
Oh, okay.
I saved that for the professionals.
Yeah, all right. You're on Coffee Country and Cody. Dallas Smith, Grand Ole Opry debut in just a few hours. Big Red Curtain as Charlie Mattos hosts tonight, 7 o'clock. Hey, are we back to wrap it up? I think so. On the television side, we'll continue, by the way, on WSM Radio at 6:50 a.m. and WSMRadio.com. But again, CircleCountry.com. Thank you for watching this morning. Charlie, take them to the Grand Ole Uproar at 7 o'clock tonight when the Big Red Curtain goes up.
Well, Grand Ole Opry star T. Graham Brown will be there. Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland together. Oh, that's a lot of talent.
Mercy.
Dallas Smith is coming to see us in just a little bit. He's going to make his Opry debut tonight. Wendy Moten, Charles Eston, Shelley Fairchild, Funny Man Gary Muledeer, 49 Winchester.
Speaking of funny, Shelley Fairchild, she is worth the price of admission if she did comedy rather than singing. But the good thing is she is going to sing on the Opry. She was with us yesterday. See you tomorrow on the TV side.